Hello, this is Module 5, Video 16. This video is about our prepare action. Now, it turns out the prepare action is identical to our break action, which we did in the last video, except of course the first thing it says is prepare rather than break. So what I thought I'd do is refactor our break action so that it takes this first piece of text here to say as a parameter. And that way our prepare action can simply leverage that class instead of, repeating all this code and the tests. I was also planning on some other refactoring, which I may as well do as part of this video as well, in that essentially what we've got here with our break action is a sequence of actions to execute. And we already have something that does that, which is our sequence action. So we may as well leverage a sequence action from inside our break action to do, at least this part of the work. And the other thing our sequence action will give us for free, which we didn't even address in this last video we did, is to skip ahead. If there's any skip ahead in the context, we'll skip ahead to the appropriate point in the child action. It also has this cancellation, but I mean we get that anyway by executing these child kind of lower level actions. They all have cancellation logic in them and pause logic. So it's not like it's an awful idea doing this ourselves, but we may as well leverage what we've already written, if only for the skip ahead functionality. Right, so first things first, we're going to have to modify our tests so that we can pass through a parameter of what to actually say. And we'll default it to break, but we will have to test the case when it's not break. So let's start with that. So those are the two tests I've added. First of all, we're going to need to take the start speech string in our constructor. So I'm asserting that that's not null. Sorry, I'm asserting that passing in null will throw, that should be argument null exception. And second of all, execute async uses a specified start speech text. So if I pass in whatever, then I expect that to be passed on to the speech service, which I'm verifying here. Now, of course, I haven't fixed this constructor yet, so let's do that first. And now we should be able to run tests and see them failing. Okay, cool. So implementation is simply going to be like that. So I'm just storing it as a private field, asserting that it's not null, and using it as the first thing we kind of say here. Cool, all passing. So let's refactor to use a sequence action. Okay, so I'm just creating the sequence action and assigning it to our inner action member variable here. And in order to populate the actions within that, we're calling our getInnerActions method, which is exactly as it was before. Now the duration, we may as well leverage our inner action for that as well. And same with execution, we just await the inner action execution. I could probably go even better here in terms of memory usage and not bother to store, for example, that, because we just use that to calculate down here. So instead what we can do is pass in the duration here, like that. And we could also just pass in the start speech text, and don't bother to store that in a local. I mean, we could do the same with these services as well. And in fact, if we take it far enough, this could become static, which I think makes sense. So let me do that. Okay, now tests shouldn't have to change, but they should all still pass, so let's try that. Cool, so they're all passing. So the one other thing we need then is a prepare action. I mean, that is the whole point of this video. So, I mean, there's a couple of ways we could do this. We could change the break action so that it's not sealed, and we could inherit from that. Or we could use composition and just include a break action in our prepare action. I'm not entirely happy with the name now, that because you know it's more generic than that. It's just an action that says something and then waits for a period of time, and then possibly says ready after that. So it's almost like we need a wait with prompt kind of higher level action that the break and prepare actions both inherit from or compose. So let me quickly do all that, and then I can explain what I've done afterwards. Alright, cool. So I've done the refactoring. All our tests still pass, as you can see. So let me just explain briefly what I've done. So first of all, I took the existing break action and renamed it to wait with prompt action. I've removed the default value for this constructor argument and renamed it as well to prompt speech text. It doesn't make any sense to have a default anymore, so I've removed that. And everything else is much the same in here as it was, apart from renaming a couple of things. So given that, I've been able to create a break action which just composes a wait with prompt action and uses break as the speech text, and just delegates to the inner action for both the duration and the execution. And same for prepare, except we're using the prepare text instead. And I've also renamed the fixture for the wait with prompt action, and gone through and fixed up, each of these constructor calls, and renamed what I had to rename for it to make more sense. I don't think there's any value testing the break action or the prepare action, because all they're doing is delegating, and that's kind of what's nice about doing this refactoring, is we've got all the so-called complicated logic in one spot inside this wait with prompt action, which we've already tested, so we don't need to test these other two. So that, as far as I'm concerned, is it for the prepare action, and that is actually the last of the actions that we'll be implementing as part of this video series. I will be probably doing some further refactoring on this stuff, so check out the GitHub repo if you're interested in that. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye.